been taking. Here's what our next person has to say.
It's the most important to me, is my priority, because I think mental health is the embodiment of the remaining one, your physical health and your spiritual health. So when you are mentally fit, I think you'll be able to be physically fit and spiritually fit. So I think the major part is the major importance is your mental health. It controls the rest. All right, have a nice evening.
Spiritual because spiritual carries the physical. We are first a spiritual being before we became a physical being. It is only an healthy mind that can carry an healthy body. Even Socrates defined it in his definition for education. That is the education of a sound mind.
Okay, so we got more people. Okay, all right, so we got more people, but we just sort of limited to these three because majority of them said spiritual health. So that's why we thought, okay, we didn't want it to be too, to keep repeating itself. All right, so like I said, I'm going to be joined by Dr. Chukwuma Okoli, who I'll be asking a few questions as well on the other aspects of health. And, also a lot of things that the pastor said also is something that I would like to, ask him as a medical doctor. What are some of his thoughts on that? So as soon as he joins me, we'll definitely have that conversation. But hopefully, if I have time, I'll open phone lines as well. I'd love to hear your thoughts and your contributions on this subject. Hello, good morning. Good morning, Dr. Okoli. Hello, Dr. Okoli, good morning. Okay, I'm not sure, I can't hear him. Hello? Hello, good morning. Okay, all right, we'll try and get him back on the line. And of course, it's tomorrow is World Health Day, and we're talking about prioritizing your health. And obviously, one of the things I'd like to ask Dr. Okoli is obviously how to balance, managing all of your health. Our health is beyond just the physical, so it's important. All right, hello, good morning. I still cannot hear him on here, so I'm wondering what is going on there. Okay, all right, so let's try this. Just hang on for me, Dr. Okoli, and we'll bring you on. Hello, good morning. Okay. Okay, we can do this. Good morning. Good to have you here. Thank you very much for joining me live on the program.
Thank you.
All right. So I know tomorrow is World Health Day, and I wanted to just talk to you real quickly before we brought you on. I talked to a few people about prioritizing their health and what area. We know there are different. Health is beyond just the physical, especially in these days where people are now talking more about mental health. We have physical health, mental health. Emotional health, spiritual health. We find a lot of Nigerians prioritize their spiritual health above everything else. What are your thoughts on this, Doctor?
Thank you very much. Yes, well, if I would talk from that aspect, the spiritual health is important as much as the physical. Okay. Yes. Now, from the directive of faith, I would tell you that the spiritual realm controls the physical.
Okay.
But then I would rather say that you will pay more attention to your physical health because when you are healthy and strong, then you can pray.
Okay.
When your body is healthy and strong, you can make money. You can move around. You can do whatever you want to do. That is only when your physical health is on point. If you're having a heart failure, an organ damage, you may not enjoy your physical or spiritual health. So if you are sick in any part of your body and you do not pay attention to your health, and every other part of the system crumbles.
Right. And it's odd that, when we talk to a pastor, he said, if you can make sure you're spiritually, he says this, like you said, spiritual controls the physical. So if you can be spiritual, then everything will be fine. But, aren't there ways that you can balance taking care of your mental, spiritual, physical health in a way that they all sort of find priority, or must one take, priority over the other? Can we not balance all of our health in a way that I'm mentally fine, spiritually and physically well? Because I know you're a doctor, so I know you speak from the physical health point of view, but aren't there ways that one can balance?
That's it. That's perfect. You have to balance everything. The spiritual is good. It is important. You can call that the most important based on my faith and belief. But then I would still say balancing is the best. How do I mean? Eat good food, sleep on time, do mild exercises, stay fit, and pray. So you cannot petition one for the other. And that is why when people tell me they want to go on fast for more than 40 days, I'll tell them I don't think that is a good idea. Because when you do that, you may get to a point where your physical body breaks. And when you fall sick, every of those processes will be halted. So you have to balance the physical. You have to balance your body, your mental health as well with the spiritual. Everything must maintain a balance. So you can't leave one for the other, even though by faith you may believe that one supersedes the other, but they are all equally important.
Right.
Now, some people, they find it difficult to integrate into society by virtue of the fact that they don't have a job or they are not well paid. And that is mentally affecting them. They are not able to fit in. They find themselves disabled or disadvantaged by virtue of the fact that they don't have a good job. And that means that their mental health is at stake.
Absolutely.
And when this is at stake, it affects their physical strength. It affects their health. They are not able to eat well. They don't sleep well. They're not strong enough. And that will also affect every
And how do you pray in such a situation?
Each of those aspects will affect the others. Yes.
Absolutely. Now, the theme for World Health Day tomorrow is building a fairer, healthier world. And I know when they talk about fairer is to have a world where all of us can have access to good health. And would you say that a lot more people who rush to church or to the mosque or to their babalawo or whatever is as a result of poverty and that they actually cannot afford, to go to a hospital? Would you say that's why a lot more people obviously choose spiritual health above anything else? Because it's cheaper, obviously.
Well, the truth is, we, like you rightly said, we don't know how to prioritize what we should do. I have somebody who will tell you, don't go to church screaming amen, amen, when you should go to work. Yes. When you wake up in the morning, go to work, make some money. But of course, find time to pray to God. You have to prioritize what you should do at every point in time.
Right.
Your physical health needs money to be maintained. Your physical health needs a lot of food, good food, fruits, and vegetables and all that. So you need to prioritize. It's good to be religious, but don't put that above others. You cannot leave the fact that you need money in your pocket and then you go to church. If you pray from morning to night, money will not come there to church to meet you. So you need to also go out there and work and make some money so that you can balance. Yes, Nigerians are very religious, but with little results.
Right. Just before you go, Doctor, you've touched on it, but one of the things that people also talk about is the fact that a lot of people who have mental health issues are in church. Why do we not have cases of pastors actually redirecting them to maybe psychiatrists and places like that, as opposed to treating it as a spiritual thing?
Thank you. This is one issue I have against many pastors.
Right.
It is, yes, when I see pastor who respects the rule of law, pastor who respects the profession, I cherish them. You see, okay, let me give you an example. A woman in labor, this labor is obstructed and may not progress. And then you keep the woman in church and you're praying, and then the child goes into distress and dies in the womb. And after the child is dead, the baby is delivered, and you say, in Yoruba language, okay, she's been delivered. What happened to the child? You lost the child because you did not realize or recognize the fact that a doctor needs to step in at that point and find a solution to the obstructed labor. That's why I said a lot of Nigerians are religious with little or no results.
Absolutely. Wow. Thank you so much, Dr. Chukwuma Okoli, for that. We appreciate you, granting us this time. Thank you and have a wonderful day.
You too. Bye.
All right. So you've heard from, the different sides. You've heard from a pastor who would call, I guess, a spiritual doctor. You've heard, from a medical doctor who's talked about the importance of your physical health. And, even though we didn't have a mental health doctor here, I'm sure that they will also talk about prioritizing your mental health. Like I said, I have a good example, family, somebody who, they're carrying from one, church to the other. and obviously you can tell that, if they just go to a psychiatrist, but obviously a lot of people feel like by the time you call it that, they'd rather think that it's somebody from the village or somebody that's doing somebody. For them, I guess, is easier that way to think about it. And obviously the fact that the pastor pointed out that it's cheaper for a lot of people to go to church. So our government must do a lot more to make, this is a time when even our doctors are going on strike. But here, the World Health Organization is talking about how we must call on our leaders to ensure that everyone has living and working conditions that are conducive to good health. At the same time, we urge leaders to monitor health inequities, that is inequalities. So where some people can fly abroad, some people don't even have access to, one, small hospital around the area, and to ensure that all people are able to access quality health services when and where they need them. I believe that if, going to hospital, people didn't see it as so expensive, we'll have less people dying in one Abele church or going to give birth in one Abegi place, all because for them, they may think it's spiritual, but oftentimes, and I'm not saying all the time, and not all people, a lot of people turn to spiritual things when there's a lot of poverty. You find that in areas where there's a lot of poverty, there's a lot of religious people. So if the government can do more to make sure that even the most people from areas where there's a lot of poverty can have access to healthcare, you find less people who are, choosing to, make a physical thing a religious thing, So as it is, COVID-19 has opened our eyes to a lot of things. It says here that the COVID-19 has hit all countries hard, but its impact has been harshest on those communities which were already vulnerable, who are more exposed to the disease, less likely to have access to quality healthcare services, and more likely to experience adverse consequences as a result of measures implemented to contain the pandemic. I can envisage now that the vaccine has been rolled out. Obviously, a lot more people are cynical. A lot of people have attached some spiritual whatever to the vaccine. And they're trying to inject 666. They're trying to inject, I don't know, whatever. So, but when people now start to get out to the awareness that it's important for you to take a vaccine, we vaccinate our children, don't we? So I can imagine that. I hope that we'll continue to make the vaccines free in this part of the world. That's also another things that we have issues with corruption. So things are supposed to be free, are sold. I remember when they used to say mosquito nets were free, and people would be selling those mosquito nets. Obviously, so when we have a situation where government can ensure that people have access to basic care, and also ensure that, the people who are supposed to be making this basic care free and not surcharging the people, they will have people who are more aware, who are more exposed, who are more educated, who will go where they need to, not choose to go, to some place where they will bathe them in some water just because they cannot afford. A lot of them are doing that because they cannot afford the basic health care. All right, so I want to open phone lines real quickly. Let us know what your thoughts are. If you're listening to me, wherever you're listening to me from, I want to know if you choose to prioritize your health, your spiritual health, why do you do so? If you choose to prioritize your mental, some people will say, for me, I just choose to go to the spa, when I know that, for me, my mental health is very important. Me personally, my mental health is very important. So if I'm in a toxic environment, I do whatever I need to get out of that toxic environment. I do prioritize my mental health, because obviously you can be in this world, you can say, oh, you're alive, but some people are alive. And are you really alive if, you're having to deal with all sorts of, toxicity? Okay, so number to call is 080-5699-8678. 080-5699-8678. Let us know what your thoughts are, especially based on the medical doctor and the pastor that I've interviewed. What are your thoughts? All right. You can also send a message if you'd like to contribute. You can also send a message to that number as well. Number to call or text is 080-5699-8678. Okay. All right. I've got okay. Please try call back. I just mistakenly cut that call off. Okay. All right. Number to text to or call to is 080-5699-8678. 8. We're talking about health. You've heard some of the people we've talked to on the street, and majority of them have said they would prioritize their spiritual health. Why do you think that is so? Why do you think majority of people in Nigeria choose to prioritize their spiritual health above their mental health, perhaps, or even their physical health? And you've heard from our pastor as well today. So what are your thoughts, and what do you think about what they have all said? And what would your response be if asked? Okay, what would your response be if you were asked what part of your health you would prioritize as well? We'd love to hear from you. I haven't got too much time left, so if you'd love to contribute, please do so as soon as possible before I have to go. So I've just got a few minutes to take your reactions and comments. You can go to Twitter as well. If you're on Twitter, please tweet at Splash FM 1055 at Splash FM 105. I'm sure a lot more will be done towards World Health Day tomorrow, but in the meantime, this is definitely my beat, and of course me doing my beat to ensure that we are more aware that there's more to health beyond just staying alive. There's more to health beyond just staying alive, and obviously if you choose to take prioritize your spiritual health, that's fine, and that's good, all good and well, as long as you understand that obviously there's life beyond also just praying and doing all of those things, and that obviously if certain things pegs are put in the right holes, you should be fine at the end of the day. All right, so we're just struggling a little bit with our phone lines, but please just persevere and try and call in. Number to call is 080-5699-8678, 080-5699-8678. And we can also look at the place of government also in Nigeria, and even in countries where there's a lot of poverty. You can share with us and tell us what they should be doing. Obviously, we know that the recent call, downing of tools of resident doctors in this part of the world does not help matters. Also, a lot of people, will also talk about how, at this point in time is a bad time for the president to be out of the country for medical reasons, especially. It's definitely not a good idea. All right. Hello, good morning.
Hello, morning, Ronke. How are you doing?
I'm very well, thank you. What's your name, please?
This is Tommy speaking here. How are you?
I'm very well. Thank you very much for calling in. Always excited to hear from you.
You're most welcome.
Yes, go ahead. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, let me first say happy Easter to everyone.
Yes.
Yeah, okay. Let me quickly hit the point. Well, I would say that you have to balance both. You have to balance both. You balance your spiritual, you balance your physical. I am more of spiritual. Once you are spiritual, your God, then you pay more attention to your physical body, because your spiritual needs a physical body. You can't neglect your physical body at the expense of your spiritual life. You need to balance both, so that by the time your blessings come after you've prayed, you have the physical body to enjoy. Yeah.
True. So what are the things, before you go though, what are the things that you do? I mean, apart from prayer, oftentimes there are people who say for them spiritual is also things like yoga. Even though in this part of the world,
spiritual is not all about yoga. Spiritual is not about meditation. Spiritual is more of you having a clear conscience.
Right.
Yeah, you have this freedom from negative consciousness. Yes,
true.
You are free from all negativity, and you channel your energies towards the positive realm, and then you can attract your blessings. Then your physical body needs to be nourished as well, so that you can enjoy those when you come here.
So what, do you do yoga? You do yoga?
Yoga?
Do you do yoga?
Yeah, I practice yoga.
Oh, fantastic.
I meditate a lot. For my mental health,
awesome.
It's very essential. You can be in Nigeria and you don't take care of your mental health.
Yes. There's back-to-back all sorts of things to definitely,
you need to
cause
take care of your mental health. It's very crucial.
I like that. I'm definitely looking to get into yoga too soon, so hopefully it will work. I really love that. Thank you so much for calling in.
You're most welcome.
Have a wonderful time.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
all right. Thank you. Bye-bye. Okay. All right. So, you've heard that. I know some people will frown at yoga because when you think about meditation, you're thinking, people are humming and chanting all sorts of things. For you, that's not your idea of spirituality. But then, to each his own. It's something you should definitely read up on. It's not as in quote diabolical as a lot of people think. So maybe it's something you should read up on and research, and you might see that it's not as, all right. So that's another angle of spiritual. So for you may think spiritual is just about you going to your church, going to mosque and praying. That's another angle altogether. All right, so let's take one more. We can take one more call real quickly on 080-5699-8678. 080-5699-8678. All right, in an ideal country, what would you expect to be happening, especially with regards health, and of course, also, what do you do? What do you prioritize? Personally, we'd like to know what you do and why you prioritize the area of health that you choose to prioritize in your world and in your life. I'd definitely like to hear. Like I said, you can send a quick message as well before we go. Time is almost up, so it would be nice to talk to one more person who can tell me what area of their health they choose to prioritize and why. All right, so for you, is it about your physical health? You make sure you eat well, you make sure you drink lots of water, and you make sure you take your vitamins and all of that. Make sure not to do too much work or not to be sedentary. That's another area. A lot of people just go to work and sit down, and they live a sedentary life. So and for them, also the complications can come from there. Is that you? Or for you, is it more about your mental health, whereby you ensure that you're not in a toxic environment, and like our last caller said, you ensure that you make sure you're not harboring bitterness and unforgiveness or anything like that. Or for you, it's about your spiritual life, so you ensure that you don't miss digging deep and faith clinic and prayer in the morning and prayer at night and all of that. And for you, you feel like once you have covered that area, then you are covered there, So if that's yours as well, I really would like you to tell us. You can tweet, and if I have to go off at any point because my time is almost up, I'd love to read it. So for you, if you feel like as soon as I'm spiritually fine, I'm in right standing with God, I'm good in all areas, let us know, because we have had cases of people who are religious or spiritual in quotes who have also had to battle all sort of mental health issues or being in certain physical conditions and stuff like that, in spite of being spiritual people. So you would like to know what you think. So you can tweet at Splash FM 1055, at Splash FM 1055. Tell us your thoughts. And like I said, if you text in whilst I'm gone, I would definitely love to read that as well. But in the meantime, tomorrow will be World Health Day. And like I said, there'll be lots of interesting things lined up to commemorate the day as well. But this is, food for thought is what I'll say that we've done today. So you can think about it and, of course, act on whatever it is you choose to do differently to enable you live a healthier life. And obviously, we'll continue to task our government to do the needful as well, to ensure that, there's a fairer and healthier Nigeria, where everyone, no matter who you are or whose child you are, can have access to emergency, quick, health care, no matter where they are from or who they are. All right, that's it from us for the morning. And of course, as we segue into the mid-morning, we have got Tifun Tedder coming up at 9 o'clock all the way until 10. And then, of course, today's Tuesday, so we've got our sports in Yoruba coming up later on as well. The news at 1 will come up as well as, talking points and a few of the other stuff lined up already. So make sure to sit tight, enjoy the day with us. This is Splash 105.5 FM, and I'm Ronke Giwa Onafuwa. Until I come to you next time, enjoy your day and God bless you.